Understanding the nature of thought. Understanding the nature of thought involves understanding how our brain processes information and how this process creates the thoughts that we experience. Brain and information processing. The brain is the organ responsible for creating thoughts, memories, and emotions. It receives and processes information from the senses, and this information is used to create thoughts and memories. Understanding the structure and function of the brain can help us to understand how our thoughts are created. Types of thought. There are different types of thought, including critical thinking, creative thinking, and intuitive thinking. Critical thinking is the process of analyzing and evaluating information to make well-reasoned judgments. Creative thinking is the ability to generate new ideas and solutions to problems. Intuitive thinking is the ability to understand something immediately, without the need for analysis or conscious reasoning. Role of emotions in shaping thoughts. Emotions play a significant role in shaping our thoughts and perceptions. They can influence how we interpret and respond to information, and can even affect the way we think about ourselves and others. Understanding the role of emotions in shaping our thoughts can help us to identify and manage them more effectively. Interplay with other factors. Our thoughts are also influenced by external factors such as culture, socioeconomic status, education, environment, and so on. Understanding how these factors can shape our thoughts and perception is also an important aspect of understanding the nature of thought. Understanding the nature of thought involves understanding the brain and how it processes information, the different types of thought, and the role of emotions in shaping our thoughts and perceptions. It also includes understanding how other external factors can play a role in shaping our thoughts and perceptions. Let's dive deeper into it. The brain and how it processes information. The brain is the organ responsible for creating thoughts, memories, and emotions. It is a complex structure made up of several different regions, each of which plays a specific role in processing information. Sensory processing. When we take in information through our senses, such as seeing, hearing, tasting, smelling, and feeling, that information is first processed in the primary sensory areas of the brain. These areas are responsible for recognizing and interpreting basic information, such as color, shape, and movement. Integration of information. The information then gets relayed to different regions of the brain for further processing. The brain begins to combine, compare, and interpret the information and to assign meaning to it. Some examples of this are the parietal lobes and occipital lobes, which are responsible for integrating visual and spatial information, the temporal lobes that integrate auditory and verbal information, and the insular cortices that process and integrate taste, smell, and some proprioception. Memory formation and storage. Information that is deemed important gets stored in long-term memory in different regions of the brain. This allows us to remember past experiences and to use that information to make decisions in the present and plan for the future. Executive functions. The prefrontal cortex, which is located at the front of the brain, is responsible for a wide range of executive functions, including decision-making, problem-solving, and planning. This region of the brain allows us to use the information we've stored in memory and combine it with current information to make decisions, solve problems, and plan for the future. Emotions and feelings. Emotions and feelings play a critical role in our lives and are integral to the way we process information. They are generated by the limbic system, which is a group of brain structures that include the amygdala, the hippocampus, the anterior cingulate, and the insula. These structures are responsible for generating, interpreting, and responding to emotional and social information. The brain processes information by receiving input from the senses and processing it in different regions to create thoughts, emotions, and memories. These processes allow us to recognize, interpret, and make sense of the information and the world around us. The different types of thought, including critical and creative thinking. There are several different types of thought, each with its own unique characteristics and functions. Two of the most important types of thought are critical thinking and creative thinking. Critical thinking. Critical thinking is the process of analyzing and evaluating information in order to make well-reasoned judgments. It involves breaking down information into its component parts, identifying biases and assumptions, evaluating evidence, and considering alternative viewpoints. Critical thinking requires a systematic and logical approach, and it is a key skill for making decisions, solving problems, and evaluating the credibility of information. Creative thinking. Creative thinking is the ability to generate new ideas and solutions to problems. It involves thinking outside of the box and considering new perspectives, and it requires the ability to make connections between seemingly unrelated ideas. Creative thinking is an essential skill for innovation and problem solving, and it can lead to new insights and solutions that might not be apparent using traditional methods. Intuitive thinking. Intuitive thinking is the ability to understand something immediately, without the need for analysis or conscious reasoning. This type of thinking is fast, automatic and unconscious and can help to identify patterns and make predictions quickly. Intuitive thinking is most commonly used in everyday life when making quick judgments, inferring or guessing. Reflective thinking. Reflective thinking is the process of thinking about thinking, in which an individual can observe their own cognitive processes. This type of thinking is associated with learning, self-awareness, and self-evaluation. Reflective thinking allows individuals to evaluate the effectiveness of their own thought processes, and make adjustments to improve them if needed. The role of emotions in shaping our thoughts and perceptions. Emotions play a significant role in shaping our thoughts and perceptions. They can influence how we interpret and respond to information, and can even affect the way we think about ourselves and others. Here are a few ways in which emotions shape our thoughts and perceptions. Attention and memory. Emotions can influence the way we pay attention to and remember information. For example, emotionally charged information is more likely to be remembered than neutral information, and negative emotions tend to grab our attention more easily than positive emotions. This can affect the way we perceive and interpret events, as we are more likely to remember information that is emotionally charged. Perception of self and others. Emotions can also shape the way we perceive ourselves and others. Negative emotions such as anger and fear tend to increase feelings of separateness and self-protection, while positive emotions such as joy and contentment tend to increase feelings of connection and empathy. This can affect the way we see and interact with the world and others. Problem-solving and decision-making. Emotions can also play a role in problem-solving and decision-making. Negative emotions such as anger and anxiety can impair our ability to think clearly and make good decisions, while positive emotions such as happiness and hope can enhance our ability to think creatively and come up with solutions. Interpreting information. Emotions can influence how we interpret information. For example, when we are in a positive emotional state, we tend to see things in a more positive light and make more optimistic judgments, and when we are in a negative emotional state, we tend to see things in a more negative light and make more pessimistic judgments. Motivation. Emotions can influence what we find motivating and what we find demotivating. Positive emotions such as hope, happiness, and excitement tend to increase our motivation, while negative emotions such as fear, guilt, and shame tend to decrease it. In summary, emotions play a significant role in shaping our thoughts and perceptions, affecting the way we pay attention, the way we see and remember events, the way we see ourselves and others, and how we solve problems and make decisions. Emotions can also influence how we interpret information, and what we find motivating and demotivating. Understanding how emotions shape our thoughts and perceptions can help us to manage them more effectively and make better decisions.